back in charge despite the uncertainty we've seen in 2025 and some ominous Black Monday predictions earlier this year. Not to be mentioned here on the floor, we're seeing the major stock averages hit closing and intraday record highs. BlackRock, Broadcom, Bitcoin, Coinbase, Microsoft, Nvidia, Robinhood, and the S&P 500 all hitting record highs this week. And all of this without a Fed rate cut. So without further ado, joining me is Dave Stryzewski, FinTech TV contributor and CEO of Sound Planning Group. David, happy Friday. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Remy.
Well, first and foremost, let's start out by looking at that Bitcoin chart, because overnight we saw Bitcoin clear 113, 116, and this morning 118. So what do you make of what we're seeing?
I mean, it's just getting started. It's no question. There's been a lot of shorts on the market trying to keep Bitcoin below 100,000. I think that you've been just watching big institutions allocate in. You've been watching them, just kind of do the pump and dump thing, which is what I was concerned about when the ETF came. But now I think that we're off to the races. We're going to be seeing new highs here. And I think ultimately, Remy, that we're seeing the beginning of altcoin season. And we're really about to see a maturation take place as institutional money is now coming into this space where maybe you and I were speculating in our allocations before. Will this work and will this not work? It's still this real big question. Now we're looking at, this is a real thing. Real businesses are really allocating into it, following the Michael Saylor model, and I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more.
Yeah, and David, you bring up a great point here, because here we are as we kick off the month of July. We have Crypto Week taking place in Washington, D.C., but you mentioned altcoins. So for viewers who are not as familiar of the implications here, tell us what's happening in altcoins.
Okay, so we've got like Bitcoin, and then like every other coin is basically considered an altcoin, right? All right, so little different models here in altcoins. Now, a couple things that I think are really important. We need real world applications in order to change our lives, to bring this wonderful technology that can scale, bring lower cost, faster solutions to us that are not going to be able to be counterfeited. And so these altcoins give us the ability to have functions. Think about the apps on your phone, how we might transact at a grocery store, how we might engage with music in the future. And so there's so many different pieces of technology right now that are just starting to come out. And some of these alternative coins are really like the algorithms that we're going to be seeing businesses run on in the future. And so I really like companies like Ethereum, of course, is a big name out there. Probably going to see 4,000 Ethereum before the end of the year. But one coin that I really like, and it's doing exceptional here this morning, is Cardano, ADA, which is very similar to Ethereum, kind of like a cousin here as far as the functionality goes. But I think we're still looking at about 75 cents right now. So in comparison to $2,500, 75 cents probably has a little higher to go.
Yeah, and speaking of prices, I had to look at the 52-week low for Bitcoin just so I could feel a little bit more FOMO here, but it's hard to believe how long we've come since the 52-week low below 50,000.
Right.
But while we're talking about records, I do want to get your take on what we're seeing for the equity markets. We saw the S&P 500, Nasdaq hit new record highs yet once again. So what's going on here? Is it just momentum?
The world's pretty excited about the big, beautiful bill. I like to call it the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act 2.0. It has actually created the single greatest opportunity in any of our adult lifetimes to reduce or eliminate taxes. This is what we want to pay attention to. But this also brings, more people money to the hustle economy. Those that are here and working overtime or getting tax on tips because they take a second job, they're getting boosted. So I think people are looking at this and saying this is really good for the average consumer if our GDP is still 70% based upon their consumption, their activity, and what they're doing. So this is just rewarding. I think we're seeing the market respond from that.
Yeah, and next week, as we look ahead, we'll see where we close on this Friday. But of course, we get inflation figures next week, not to mention the official start to earnings season.
Right.
And we got a sneak peek yesterday with Delta reinstating their guidance as well. But what are your expectations, first and foremost, for earnings season?
This earnings season, I think, is going to be a mixed bag. We've seen some companies do a little bit better, be better allocators. The tariff conversation has really been confusing. So if you're a business that's tied to that, there might be some struggles right now. If you're a business that is domestic and really positioned right in this economy, I think that you're going to see some real wins. Those that are embracing AI are not as easy to figure out off the headline. But as we begin to see these companies progress and allocate in these new technologies, I think that you're going to see earnings actually get better and better because of supply side economics improving. But that means probably a few fewer jobs, but more productivity per individual.
Yeah, and we can't have a conversation here about AI without mentioning Nvidia, which cleared the $4 trillion mark and actually closed above that. So given all the concerns about artificial intelligence, especially given some of the geopolitical tensions, what do you think is in the future when it comes to not just Nvidia, but the entire sector?
Okay. With AI, we've got a double-edged sword here. So let me just mention a couple of positives. Pharmaceuticals should be really, really improved with AI. We can kind of map this stuff out faster to market. We're going to be able to mine a lot more efficiently and effectively because we know what's in the ground. We have an idea what's going on under the surface of the earth, if you will, a little bit more effectively. I think that you're going to see AI become your doctor, though. And primary care physicians, I believe it's 65% of them are over the age of 65 right now. And so AI can actually pass the test and get 100% on the test to become a doctor where your doctor couldn't get it on their best day. Yeah. And so here's the reality. It's a speed reader, and it's going to do some really wonderful things. Now, there's some challenges to it. Can it rip off you and I and our personalities and our voices? Yes. So there could be some cybercrime stuff that happens. I think people's wallets are going to get hacked. I think people use way too many passwords in common, and we're going to find out how, we might be a little bit more open than we might have thought previously. Yeah. So I'm excited about AI. I'm excited about technology. Really, I think the robots, I'll say this much, for $100 a month, I get to have a chauffeur in my Tesla for only $100. How much would it cost for me to hire a chauffeur to drive me around quite like that well? Not $100, it'd be a lot higher. So it brings the price down.
Yeah, with this AI technology, I do have a few concerns when it comes to surgery, but perhaps regarding a chauffeur, that is a possibility. Sure. So finally, before I let you go, I do want to get your take on what we've been seeing across commodities this week, especially with copper.
Yeah, obviously the big copper move was to say, hey, we do not have copper as a nation. This is a critical mineral. We've got them in our houses. We've got to connect circuits. I'll mention one other in commodities, and that is that silver hit $38 this morning. Okay, I'm a really big silver fan, and the reason why is because if you're going to make semiconductors, you can't just do that with copper. You've got to do it with silver. We need clean electricity. We need really strong current. You have to do that with silver. You can't electrify an economy. You can't do Nvidia unless we've got those assets in place. So you can't print it. You got to mine it.
Okay, David. Well, we will have to leave it there as we're approaching the open of the market here at the New York Stock Exchange. As always, great to have you here. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.